They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck. Was I wrong?
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a video essay. This is the first one I've ever done, so you'll have to bear with me. Today's video essay is on why Halo 3 is one of the best Halo games that has ever been released so far. So before we get into the video, I'm going to start some ground rules. First, there will be a very small amount of talking about the multiplayer, but that's only about my experience. Secondly, we will be covering the Halo 3 360 version and the MCC version. What the recording you are seeing at the moment is off the newest version of the MCC, which is why you see some of the challenges pop up. And third and finally, these are all my own opinions. You don't have to agree with them. That's fine. But let's not be horrible, okay? If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. If I make a comment that you don't think is right, that's fine. You don't need to do that angry stuff. Now, so let us start with a little bit of background knowledge of Halo 3. So Halo 3 was released on the 25th of September 2007, and this is the game which would eventually allow you to finish the fight from Halo 1 and Halo 2. Halo 3 takes place right after the Halo 2 cliffhanger ending, which in my opinion I loved. The Halo 2 cliffhanger ending, it was cool. I liked it. Not a lot of people did, but some people did. And so in a way, Halo 3 is a spiritual reboot to Halo 1, just as Halo Infinite is going to be. So what made Halo 3 so memorable for me was when the Halo 3 was released on Microsoft's new Xbox, which was called the 360. The 360 is where I began my journey on Xbox Live. Now, I'd played Halo 1 and Halo 2 on the original Xbox, but I never bought or did Xbox Live then. I just played the game single player. So Halo 3 was the first Halo game where I experienced multiplayer matchmaking. You know, King of the Hill, Infection, Team Slayer, all of that. And I loved it. And you know, and I'm honored to still be a part of the Halo community. I've been a part of the Halo community since I played Halo 1, but I just wasn't online. But after Halo 3, I stepped into the bigger world of the Halo community itself, the online aspect of the Halo community. And with Halo 3, I made so many friends on multiplayer. Some I still talk to this day, some I haven't spoken to since, because everybody stopped playing Halo 3 on the 360 when the Xbox One came out. But yeah, it's just a really nice community to have, you know, all those people that are able to use the Forge mode to make those amazing Halo 3 maps, some recreating some Halo 1 and Halo 2 mission maps. It was loads of fun. So, of course, if we're talking about Halo, we can't not talk about the god himself, Marty O'Donnell, who composed the music for Halo 1, 2 and 3, and I think a few other games as well of Halo. And without his amazing score for the game, I would still love Halo, but it just wouldn't have the impact it does. Now, fun fact, the composed original score for the Halo 3 game was actually produced with a much larger orchestra than any of the other two Halo games that had been done. The Halo 3 original soundtrack was released on November the 20th, 2007, so a few months after the game, which, you know, And this included, on the soundtrack, is the original composition submitted by fans and judged by Marty O'Donnell and a couple of others. Now, as all masterpieces, Halo 3 is a really nice game. It does have its downsides, such as truth.
Hell, not again.
Emergency generators, now!
Shielding failed. They're down and charging.
As soon as they're up, re-establish contact with Lord Hood. Let him know.
All of you vermin, cowering in the dirt, thinking, what, I wonder, that you might escape the coming fire? No, your world will burn until its surface is but glass, and not even your demon will live to creep, blackened from its hole to mar the reflection of our passage, the culmination of our journey. For your destruction is the will of the gods, and I am their instrument.
In Halo 2, he's seen more as this, this guy that would kill you in your sleep to get what he wants. He's more of a cunning guy to, make things happen. In Halo 3, he's turned into some, nut job guy who thinks he's going to become a god.
It will not last.
Your kind never believed in the promise of the sacred ring.
Lies for the weak, beacons for the deluded. I will have my revenge on a prophet, not a plague.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
You will be fooled.
And he just... The voice, changing of the voice actor as well wasn't, it was a bit meh. So the truth in Halo 2 had a lot more punch with us, right? A lot more... I felt like he was the big villain of the whole thing. Halo 3, he's just some sort of... He's the villain of the game, in a way, but he just didn't have the impact of Halo 2's. Another thing, those bloody times when Cortana and the Gravemind stop you in the middle of combat to have a nice little chat with you. Now, I can understand the first time, when you first get the thing from Cortana and the Marines say to you, you pinged KIA, that's fine, right? But it's when you're in the middle of a fight with the brutes and grunts and they're about to throw a plasma grenade at you and Cortana decides to pop into your face and have a little chat with you. I'm not a fan. The level Cortana. Every 5 minutes you got the Gravemind or Cortana just blasting in your face when you're trying to kill Flood. And also on the Flood, they're a lot more weaker than they were in Halo 1 and 2. You can literally just batter them with the assault rifle and they're dead. Yes, they get re-brought back to life by the little buggers that, the Flood form things, but still, they shouldn't be, with Halo 1 and 2, you could hit the arms and stuff off the Flood, they would still come at you. Anyway, my rant over about why there are some unfortunate bits of Halo 3 which shouldn't have been in there. I could see the ideas by it, great ideas. Just the execution of the ideas was, in my opinion, abysmal. It wasn't good. So, I'll tell you some things I do like about Halo 3. The sandboxes, the maps, they've gone back to that Halo 1 style. The maps are 10 times bigger than they were in Halo 2. I would say probably a bit bigger than they were in Halo 1, but they were definitely bigger than Halo 2. Right? And you've got these massive outdoor battles you've got in the mission The Storm, where you fight your first Scarab, right? And you got to take out the AA gun wraiths that are about in the valley, right? You take them out, this massive Scarab comes over the wall and you actually get to fight it. You blow its legs up and you jump on the back and you blow it up. That is amazing. I love it. When you're running to the final AA gun at the end of Storm and you just see this, you've got to fight these brutes and grunts and you see a longsword get shot out the sky. It's absolutely amazing. Another one, the Ark. make an area for the Forward Unto Dawn to land and drop off the tanks and warthogs, the entire way up to that and then going back to the big door.
Tank beats everything! Oh, man! I can do this all day! Hostile down! Oh, that hurts!
It's just a massive battle, and then when you get to fight the Scarab again, just before you go up to the cartographer.
Back! Time to meet business! Bravo! Flank and cover! I want everybody supporting the chief! He'll take it down! Ow! That hurt!
It's all amazing. And of course, we can't, well, if we're talking about big battles, we also have to talk about the Covenant.
We hit these 3 generators, and the barrier will fall? A small section, yes. Good enough. Johnson, drop the chief at the first generator, then head to the 3rd. The elites will punch right down the middle.
Roger that!
Charlie, Foxtrot. Tower 1 approaches, active AAA.
Mayday! I can't control her!
Pelican down! Pelican down!
Brace yourselves! We're going in a little hot! Pal out! Go, go, go! Alright, up the beach! Take out that wraith!
Because the entire mission of the Covenant is just one big firefight. The moment you land on the beach, you're blowing stuff up with your Spartan laser. As soon as you get on the Warthog and you drive to the first tower, you're blowing stuff up. As you get back and you go on the Hornet, you have this massive fight in the sky with the Banshees and the Phantoms and the anti-air wraiths.
Get those Pelicans safely to the 3rd tower. I'll take the wheel. Shotgun! Give them hell, people! Keep firing! Got her off. Banshees down! Objective in sight, Commander. Outside of Johnson or his team.
Understood. Chief, clear an LZ, then get inside the tower.
Contact!
and everything else, and it's just beautiful. And then when you come out of the third tower, you fight those 2 scarabs with the Hornet, and the entire thing is just beautiful.
I got shotgun. I count 2 scarabs. Repeat, 2 scarabs.
First scarab's down. All units, concentrate your fire on number 2. Both scarabs.
Beautiful, beautiful game, and the way they made it and did it, it was fantastic. Now, you know, and Halo, it's Warthog Run. It's a reminiscent of the first one, like where you're getting off the Pillar of Autumn after blowing its engines, and you're doing the whole Warthog Run. I appreciate there's no time limit, but, and this is a big but, I was playing it the other day, and I was driving. I did notice that the Sentinels can be little bastards. If they shoot the Warthog in a certain place, it will affect your driving a lot, and you will fall and die.
80% charged. Firing sequence initiated. Got it, Chief. Jump! Floor it right into the hangar. Hang on. Chief!
we'll make it.
It's been an honor serving with you, John.
Beautiful fucking game. Now, when Halo 3 was being... when all the trailers of Halo 3 were being brought out by Bungie had in their head at the time that this was the final story for Master Chief, right? Not for Halo, but for Master Chief. That's why all their trailers had the same common thing: finish the fight, right? Because everyone thought, this is Halo 3, we're going to finish the fight, that's it. Everything's going to end, it will be done. As we found out later, that wasn't technically the case, because Halo 4 came out. Still, you know, maybe in Infinite this really will be finish the fight. Maybe Infinite will be the very final Halo game of Master Chief. We don't know. All we know is it's going to be out Christmas time. Anyway, so let us set the scene, the story of Halo 3. So, the Master Chief, he arrives on Earth in East Africa after seemingly falling from the Forerunner vessel that Truth escapes in at the end of Halo 2, where Johnson and the Arbiter find him. The Chief and the Arbiter and Johnson and the rest of the Marines, they return to the UNSC outpost where Commander Keyes and Lord Hood are planning one final effort to stop the Covenant leader from activating the Ark. The Chief clears the anti-air raid cannons defenses so Hood can land the last of Earth's ships against the Prophet. So after you've destroyed the main air, activates the artifact ship, creating a slip space portal which he and his followers enter. Now, as this happens, another Covenant ship appears out of slip space, looking all, destroyed and looking like it's about to crash land. Little behold, it's full of flood. Who would have known? So, the Master Chief and the Arbiter must rush to the flood-infested crash ship, where the shipmaster arrives and drops off some elite troops to help you fight the flood. Now, there's a very interesting thing in this mission. If you ensure that one of the elite survives, the Arbiter will go and talk to him, and he has this pretty interesting dialogue with him.
My brothers, I fear you bring bad news.
High charity has fallen, become a fetid hive.
The fleet has quarantine been broken.
This single ship broke through our line, and we gave chase.
But we had a fleet of hundreds.
Alas, brother, the flood, it has evolved.
That's what I like about Halo 3. These little stories that the characters have with each other, they just add to the bigger scope of it. So they're talking about how High Charity has been infected with the flood. We knew that at the end of Halo 2. One of the ships has been infected. The Covenant have lost a lot of forces to the flood. It's amazing. So the Chief gets to the crash flood ship and gets what he believes is Cortana, but is met by a friendly eyeballed face, Guilty Spark. Guilty Spark and the Chief return to the Shadow of Intent with the Cortana. Unfortunately, it's not Cortana, it is a message, and Cortana is basically explaining that the flood is on its way to Earth with High Charity, but it doesn't know about what's on the side of the portal, a way to stop the flood without firing any of the remaining Halo rings and wiping all sentient life out in the galaxy. So the humans, what's remaining of the human forces and the Covenant forces of the Elite, travel through the portal to the Ark, where they are immediately set on in a massive sky battle, where the Chief lands onto Installation 00, or the Ark, to find the Silent Cartographer to find out where Truth has gone to remotely activate all the Halo rings. And a huge battle ensues on the Ark level. You fight your way, you get back, and then we get to the Covenant, where you have to disable 3 towers. You and the Arbiter deactivate towers 1 and 2. Johnson's team are unable to do it, and there's a very specific reason why they can't do it and why the brutes have gone there. Now, Forerunners are humans. The Covenant are not. They can't activate the rings without a human. So, Truth captures Johnson.
What's the matter, big shot? can't start your own party? I admit, I need your help. That secret dies with all the rest.
Johnson, sound off.
Get out of here!
Not without you.
You delay the inevitable. One of you will light the rings. You cannot hope to kill them all.
You're right.
Do it. Me. And you. Now. No! Your forefathers wisely set aside their compassion, steeled themselves for what needed to be done. I see now why they left you behind. You were weak, and gods must be strong.
Who could have seen that one coming? So, Keyes is dead. Truth activates the rings, and then a really fun and special moment happens. You get to fight by the Flood's side for about...
Do not shoot, but listen. Let me lead you safely to our foe. Only you can halt what he has set in motion.
Two minutes of the game. 2 minutes of the game and that's it. But you get to fight by them. So, you get to the end of the seemingly long runway bit where you see all the images of the rings. You can see them all, and if you jump through each of the rings in a certain order, you unlock one of the skulls. I can't remember what the order is because I've done it. It's been a while since I did it. But anyway. So, as the Chief and the Arbiter go across the bridge to the final bit, they see Johnson holding Miranda Keyes in his arms. It's a sad loss. Johnson says, "Stop the rings, save the rest." As the Arbiter and Chief go around, they see Truth on the floor, seemingly to have been infected by a flood. Because as the Arbiter is talking to the Prophet is going out from himself to the Gravemind, talking through him. The Arbiter kills Truth, which is, not non-expected, because as we know, Master Chief killed the Prophet, Flood have killed the Prophet, the Arbiter has killed the final Prophet. And that's it. And as they deactivate the rings, you know that the Gravemind turns on the Chief and the Arbiter. So they have to fight their way back to the lift because they get knocked off the Pelican, and they fight their way through the flood, and they jump down this little hole. And as they jump down, Chief sees a vision of Cortana, a life-size vision walking through the corridors.
What do you see? the ring you destroyed.
When did you know?
Just now. But I had my hopes. What will you do?
Light it.
Then we are agreed. A tactical pulse will completely eradicate the local infestation. I will personally oversee the final preparations, though it will take time to fabricate.
How will you light
So, it's a replacement ring for Installation 04. Seeing as the Ark has been creating it, it was creating a replacement to replace the Installation 04 which had been destroyed. It hasn't been fully completed, but it's there enough to activate the ring and kill the Flood. So the Chief must make his way to the crashed ship, well, the crash site of the High Charity to rescue Cortana.
Chief, I'll round up our survivors, fall back to the dawn. Arbiter will do the same with the elites. Cortana's in there somewhere.
Still has the original index from 04, from Halo 1. So the Master Chief fights his way through the High Charity to rescue Cortana. He finds Cortana, and in this scene we see that Chief and Cortana's relationship there's a lot more to it than there was in Halo 1 and 2.
You found me. But so much of me is wrong. Out of place. You might be too late.
You know me. When I make a promise.
You keep it. I do know how to pick 'em.
Lucky me. Do you still have it?
The activation index from the first Halo ring. A little souvenir I hung on to, just in case. Got an escape plan?
Thought I'd try shooting my way out. Mix things up a little.
Just keep your head down. There's 2 of us in here now, remember?
They fight their way out by destroying High Charity's reactors to destroy High Charity. But it doesn't destroy the Flood, because as soon as the Chief and the Arbiter and Johnson land on Halo, Flood dispersal pods start dropping from the sky, carrying the Flood, trying to stop the Master Chief and the Arbiter from activating Halo. They manage to get to the top of the tower, and they fight their way through the Flood and get to the control room. And lo and behold, there's always going to be one last little thing to jag at your heart. 343 Guilty Spark betrays you because you are going to blow up the Ark and Installation 04. So his protocols re-kick in and he defends Installation 04. He kills Johnson, but not before Johnson can hit him with the Spartan laser to give the Master Chief enough time to kill him.
I'm getting you out of here.
No, you're not. Don't let her go. Don't ever let her go. Send me out with a bang.
Chief, I'm so sorry.
Johnson dies of his injuries, the Master Chief activates the ring, and one hell of an awesome escaping of the ring scene happens, where you're riding the Warthog and the Arbiter is also on the back with a machine gun. Because the UNSC frigate Forward Unto Dawn has been parked, and you're going to use that to escape. You manage to get onto the Forward Unto Dawn, and you escape through the portal. Unfortunately, only half of the Forward Unto Dawn is actually brought back to Earth, and that section is the one carrying the Arbiter, because the Master Chief and Cortana are back in the cargo bay. Memorial service is held on Earth by Lord Hood, where he explains about all of the losses and the sacrifices that were made. The Arbiter and Lord Hood exchange a brief amount of words. Lord Hood says he cannot forgive the Covenant or the elites for what they've done, but he thanks him for standing by the Master Chief until the end.
For us, the storm has passed. The war is over. But let us never forget those who journeyed into the howling dark and did not return. For their decision required courage beyond measure, sacrifice, and unshakable conviction that their fight, our fight, was elsewhere. As we start to rebuild, this hillside will remain barren, a memorial to heroes fallen. They ennobled all of us, and they shall not be forgotten.
Reset! Up!
I remember how this war started, what your kind did to mine. I can't forgive them. But you have my thanks for standing by him to the end. Hard to believe he's dead.
Were it so easy. Things look different without the Prophet's lies clouding my vision. I would like to see our own world, to know that it is safe. Fear not, for we have made it so. By your word, Arbiter. Take us home.
Chief? Can you hear me? I thought I'd lost you too.
What happened?
I'm not sure. When Halo fired, it shook itself to pieces. Did a number on the Ark. The portal couldn't sustain itself. We made it through just as it collapsed. Well, some of us made it. truth and the Covenant, the Flood. It's finished.
It's finished.
I'll drop a beacon, but it'll be a while before anyone finds us. Years, even. I'll miss you.
Wake me when you need me.
And so we come to the part where we find that the Master Chief and Cortana are still alive, adrift the back section of the Forward Unto Dawn in an unknown part of space. Because they made it through, but they didn't make it all the way through. So they're somewhere else in the galaxy. And so Cortana drops a beacon saying that it might be years before they're rescued. The Master Chief enters cryosleep, a cryosleep pod, and before he does that, Cortana says, "I'll miss you." Showing that she does care for him, and she expects a different response, but John, the Master Chief, says, "Wake me when you need me." And he goes into cryosleep. Now, if you complete the game on Legendary difficulty, you do see a scene showing the part of the Forward Unto Dawn drifting towards an unknown planet, which, as we now know, is the Halo 4 planet of Requiem. And so that is the general basic of the story. I went through quite quickly just to get out of the way because the story is great. I love the story. The story makes me cry. The story makes me laugh. I love it. But I want to now get on to the new equipment and weapons and vehicles which were added into Halo 3. The gameplay aspects of it. So in Halo 3, the weapons from Halo 2 and Halo 1 are brought back. So we got the Halo 1 Magnum is now back. We don't have that weird Halo 2 Magnum. The battle rifle's back. The carbine's back. The Halo 1 assault rifle is back in Halo 3, which is always a nice thing, and that is the staple of Halo now, because in every game you've always got the assault rifle. A couple new vehicles were added to Halo 3 as well. For the UNSC and the Covenant. So for the UNSC, you've now got a Mongoose, which is like a smaller version of the Warthog, but with only 2 seats. You can have 1 driver and 1 person on the back. You use it for the first time in the mission Storm, where you fight the Scarabs and the anti-air race, and you got the Rocket Marine on the back. Another addition to the UNSC is the Hornet, which you can fly, and you fly it twice for the first time the only time you fly it is in the Covenant. It's a good vehicle. You've got rockets and machine guns, and it's quite good at taking things out. Now, the Covenant have a lot more new vehicles. They've got a chopper, which it's like the human bike chopper, the low ride thing. And it is basically like that. You've got 2 handles on it. It fires rockets. Now, the chopper is a blessing and a curse, because if you ram into another Covenant chopper at a certain speed, you can instantly destroy them. But it's the same for them. If they hit you in a certain way, you die instantly. If you ram each other straight ahead, you're going to both blow up. So it's a bit of luck, really. Another thing is the shade turret. You see that a lot now, mostly used by the grunts. You see a few of them on Talos Highway. You see another lot on the Ark and Covenant. And the final new vehicle for the Covenant is the Prowler, which is like the it's like the Warthog support vehicle, because also the humans have a new Warthog, which has no turret, but you can carry a load of people in the back. The Prowler is like the Warthog, but you can have a gunner, you can have a driver, and you can have up to 4 passengers, so, you know, it's pretty good. All the original vehicles still make their appearance. You've got the Warthog with the Gorse gun, you've got the tank, you've got the Pelicans, you've got the Ghosts, the Banshees, the Phantoms, the Wraiths, and you've got a new Wraith as well, this anti-air Wraith. You can't drive it, because as soon as you hit it too many times it blows up. You can't use it unless you're using some mods or something. So that's the vehicles. Now we're going to get into the equipment. So, first up, we have a bubble shield. And the bubble shield is basically your get out of jail free card if you're playing this game on Legendary. Basically, you throw the bubble shield down and the bubble shield will appear around you. It stops all bullets and grenades, but it won't stop people walking through the bubble shield or vehicles. So you have to be careful. The second thing is called the regenerator. And it is basically as it states. It regenerates your shields and stops you from dying. The only downside to it is if the enemies throw grenades at it too much, it will break. You know, it's just what happens. The next is called the power drain. The power drain affects vehicles, the brute's armor, and your shield. It basically sets out some sort of like EMP pulse. Activates for quite a while. You can destroy it before it does too much damage, but it usually takes your health down quite easily. The gravity lift. Now the gravity lift is a very uncommon one. I've only seen this in 2 places. Crow's Nest and the Ark. Now, the gravity lift is a small portable lift thing that you throw on the ground and it will let you get up to high places. You can use it for some other stuff, but really that's what it's mainly used for, getting above on the high ground and shooting down. The next one is the Cloaking Power, which basically makes you invisible for about 30 seconds, 20 seconds. It's good to do it if you're dealing with enemies. So for example, in Crow's Nest, if you grab it just before you have to reactivate the bomb, there's a brute with a fuel rod gun. To take him out quite easily, you activate the camouflage, you go up and you whack him in the back. You then can grab the fuel rod gun and deal with the rest of the grunts and the brutes, and it's quite easy. The next thing is the flare. Now the flare does what the flare does, it blinds you and the enemies. It can be the greatest of allies, it can also be the biggest pain in the ass, depending on who uses it. Now, the next one is the deployable cover. Now the deployable cover is good for a number of reasons. Unlike some of the other equipment we've discussed, it won't self-destruct within a few minutes of it being used. So the bubble shield will be deactivated, the regenerator doesn't last too long, the power drain won't last too long, the gravity lift doesn't last too long, the cloaking power only lasts on you for a few seconds, the flare blind will destroy itself. The only way you can destroy the deployable cover is if you actually hit the metal bit on the front. Now, the deployable cover can take damage and it will eventually devaporate, but the good thing is if you leave the metal bit intact, the shield just pops right back up. So it's a good thing to have. The radar jammer. Now the radar jammer is a bit of a weird one because it doesn't jam your radar. What it does is as you throw it, your radar just gets a dozen red dots of enemies put all around it, so you can't really tell who's who, what's the enemy and what's not. So it's good in a way, and in another way it's not. Okay, so 2 left. We have the Invincibility Cloak thing, which you can get if you kill a brute chieftain quick enough before they use it. It looks good. It's good because it can help you it's like a 30-second thing, just like the invisibility thing, but you take no damage, which is always really good. And the final thing, which you can only find in 2 levels, the Ark and Halo, is the auto turret, which is like a small sentinel turret blaster thing that can actually do quite a lot of damage, actually, I have to say. And so that is all the equipment, as I've said. The very final thing is to talk about the grenades, because they've made a slight change. There was a slight change to the grenade system from the Halo 1 and 2. So in Halo 1 and 2, you could have up to 4 of each of the frag grenades and the plasma grenades. Now you can only have 2 of each. But to outset that, you get 2 new types of grenades. You have the spike grenade and the flame grenade. Now the spike grenade is found from killing brutes. You find them very early on in the game. The flame grenades you won't see until probably the Ark and at the start of the Ark and the Covenant sort of missions, because as soon as you start the Covenant missions, you're going to encounter the Flood a lot more with the Flooder in the Covenant, Cortana, and Halo. So you're going to find a lot more flame grenades there, but you don't see them until very, very later on. So yeah, that is all of, that is Halo 3 in a nutshell. So just to reiterate everything we've said here, Halo 3 is an amazing game. Yes, it's got its downsides, but everything that has ever been good in life, there's always been something that's not been too good. So in Doom Eternal, for example, I love Doom Eternal. It's an amazing game, right? It has a few small little issues, but the issues are not too big that they don't impact too much in the game. So yeah, I love Halo 3. I always have. I've always loved the Halo games. I do hope you've enjoyed this video essay. It's the first time I've ever done one. I hope it's gone well. I hope you've learnt some stuff. I hope you've agreed. I hope you don't agree. I want to hear arguments against this. I want to have debates. Nice debates, not angry, arguey, salty debates. But I do hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.